4, 3, 2, 1. Attention. Go.
And the crews are off. Cornell closest to us in their red Vespoli. Off the line at a 43. Princeton in their King Shell at 44. Both crews very clean, very sharp, very strong. Not much separating them here in the first 10 strokes. If anything, Princeton might have a slight advantage, but now Cornell pushing back in. Nothing separating these crews right now. Both crews running very high, very clean. As we approach the 250 mark, crews start to settle. Cornell down to a 36. Princeton at a 37. Both crews right next to each other. Princeton has a slight lead here, but not more than a seat. The Cornell coxswain trying to push a crew back into Princeton, trying to close that slight gap that they have, but both crews working very hard, very close. Cornell now making a push as we approach the first 500, pushing back, trying to close that gap, trying to keep Princeton from maintaining that slight lead that they have. At the 500-meter mark, we have Cornell at a 35, Princeton maintaining a slight lead, rating at a 37. Cornell now off of their move, Princeton pushing back out, may have pushed back out to 2 seats over Cornell, but this is still a very tight race. Cornell now pushing again, trying to close that lead that Princeton is holding on to, has been holding on to since 10 strokes into this race. Princeton now pushing. Princeton making a move at a 37. Princeton may have increased by maybe a seat. Cornell responding now. Cornell making a big push at the 750 mark. Cornell at a 36. May have closed a little gap, but Princeton still holding a slight lead here. Princeton now making a push as the crews come into the midway mark in this race. Princeton at a 36. Cornell at a 36. Less than a seat separates these two crews. As they approach the 1,000-meter mark, Cornell making a move here, trying to take a lead in the second half of the race. Cornell at a 36. Princeton at a 36. At the 1,000-meter mark, Cornell has closed the gap and may have taken a slight lead. As the crews enter the second half of this race, it's now Cornell with the lead. And Cornell trying to extend that lead as they're pushing here. They're trying to take advantage of the move. Cornell at a 35. Princeton at a 36. Cornell off their move. Princeton now trying to respond, but Cornell has made this move work, and they're now pushed out to 4 or 5 seats over Princeton. Princeton needs to respond now as they come into the 250, and they are responding. Princeton now moving back. Princeton at a 37, and it's closing the gap on Cornell, but Cornell has made their move. They've pushed out to about 3/4 of a length. Princeton trying to close that gap. There's less than 750 left in this race. Will Princeton be able to close like the previous lightweight crews have? Princeton moving now, but Cornell trying to maintain that lead. Cornell at a 35. Princeton at a 37. Princeton trying to come back, but Cornell's locked into a rhythm now. They're out to about a length lead. It's probably deck on stern, not quite a length, but they're about a length and trying to push it as the crews enter the last 500. Princeton trying to move here. Princeton at a 37, closing the gap somewhat. Last 500 for both crews. Question is who can do what in this last 500? Last 500. Perfect rowing conditions here. We've got flat water, almost no wind. We're looking at the flags at the finish line. Princeton moved early in the first 500, but now Cornell has responded. There's 2:50 left in this race, and Cornell has moved their rating. Cornell at a 42, Princeton at a 43, but it's Cornell that will maintain this length plus lead now as they push towards the finish line. We'll call them as they cross the line, watching the flag. You've got Cornell coming to the finish line now with more than a length lead. It's Cornell across. And Princeton across.